I've got that next hole cut, and if you want, with that chalk line, if you do have a chalk line, you could just lightly snap it, and then you can move it. See? If you got an existing ceiling, and if it's already pre-painted, you don't necessarily want to do that. Then you got to wipe that off, and sometimes it's kind of a chore just to wipe it off. You have to take some cleaner. Sometimes it just doesn't wipe straight off. Okay. All right, there's a tip for you. Get one of those chalk lines. Once you have your hole cut, you have to clean it up. Go ahead and do it like I showed you. Now, if you want, you can kind of trim off just the back side of the sheetrock, just a hair, in case you didn't go up perfectly straight, or it's at a slight skew, because your flange is going to fit on the existing ceiling surface here, not on the back side. You don't want to cut it too far back at an angle. You know, just kind of clean it up a little bit. Looks like right there. Got to do it a little more. And then I can just tilt my saw and just kind of shave off the back, the top of the sheetrock when I say back. Okay? Looks good. Kind of do that if you want. Just don't want to, you don't want to do too much and then find out you just made it too big. Okay? Because that flange on that light fixture is not that big, was it? I could have made that a little bit bigger. I've got insulation, I've got to shove that back. Got to get it back up in the attic. I'm just kind of doing a once over here. Well, maybe I should talk to you too about asbestos. Now this house was built over 50 years ago, and anything before 1977 may have asbestos in the paint, in the sheetrock mud, in the sheetrock, in your roof tiles, in your flooring, all that kind of good stuff. But you know what? I'm only cutting small little holes. I've only got a few. If I was doing a major remodel job and I had to tear out the whole ceiling area and move walls and all that kind of stuff, your place that you're remodeling, if it's older than 1977, you know you're going to do a major renovation, or even just a kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, closet, whatever. If you want, you can take a little sample of, if you're just going to remove sheetrock, let's say, you can take a little sample down to a company, and there's quite a few of them, and they'll do a test on it, and they'll let you know if you've got asbestos in it. Then it might change the way you do your remodel. Okay, you talk to your building department as well, find out what their actual requirements are, how much wall can you remove, can a homeowner remove before you have to get an asbestos company in there and all that. But because we're only doing a few holes, I'm not doing that. And this hole here looks a little bit bigger than that, but that was an exhaust fan, and most of that was already cut out. It was a big hole, about maybe 8 or 9 inches in diameter, and I cleaned up the edges to get a patch area in there. Okay, and that's the extent of my patching. Okay, things to think about when you remodel. We're getting there. We've got 4 of our holes cut, and now I've got to cut a hole in this one here, but you know what? There's nothing here. Now, what am I going to do with that? You could go to the store. If you had something like that, you know you're going from rough to rough, which means the existing ceiling joist before sheetrock, you could get one of these that has some bars on it, and that's for rough construction, and you put those up first before you cut in and install your sheetrock. Well, we don't have any of those. I'm going to end up putting a cut-in, one of these in there. We've got 5 of these, and by golly, I'm not going back to the store and replacing that with something else. So how are we going to do that? Well, how would you do it? Well, we gotta make this patch anyways, right? So I just put this plastic up because I didn't want the stuff in the attic coming down in here the other night. Okay, so what I'm going to end up doing, here's my old brackets from that old exhaust fan, and they're going to be okay. They're going to be up above the ceiling area. Push that up a little bit like that. And so what I'm going to end up doing is, the existing ceiling joist is right there, and I need it to be 3/4 of an inch away from that. Remember? Okay. Well, now my tab is going to hit next to that. And I don't think that's going to work. So what I'm going to have to do is, I already put sheetrock backing up here because I wasn't thinking, was I? I didn't realize my light was going to go right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. Just this one piece of sheetrock backing. And I'm going to cut this existing sheetrock back to the center, or just beyond the center of this ceiling joist. So I got sheetrock backing for the square that I'm going to cut. Okay? Then, after I cut my patch, I'm going to hold it up there or whatever. I can measure off the edge exactly where it goes and take a couple measurements on it, and I can put my template on the piece of sheetrock before I install it, right? Then I can cut it from down below. I could do it that way, or I could install my piece of sheetrock and then cut it. But I'm not going to have much holding the sheetrock over here, so I'm going to do something slightly different. Okay, I'm going to do that, but I also want this to support the light fixture. I'm hardly going to have any little bit of sheetrock here holding the can at this corner, right? So I've got a little trick in mind. Have you figured it out yet? Stick around.